Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. I've got to check. Funny story is I was recording the MCN, I was just about to record it, and I pressed the start streaming button instead of the start recording button. Happens to the best of us, but hey, scuffed, tired, rich. Anyway, right, let's get into the MCN. We've got a few things to go over in this video. So speaking of live streams, and it was funny because I think there were a few people that kind of went, yeah, you've hit the live stream button, not the record button. Yes, that's absolutely right. Anyway, Livestream Friday, Kabam, okay. Of course, Dork Lessons Dave has been at San Diego Comic-Con, helping to promote the game, hopefully to get more people joining the game, new installs, all that stuff, new player base, and see the game into the future with new people joining the community on a regular basis. Of course, back a little while ago, when the lovely Kabam Jax was about, the stream was tipped to be this Friday at 9 AM PST, and there's not been any kind of announcement just yet, and by the time I get this video out, it will probably be the case of the announcement for this. Dave has confirmed this came in early hours on Tuesday morning, my time 4 AM. I ain't gonna be up at 4 AM in the morning. I am hopefully sleeping. Hey all, yes indeed, 2nd of August, 9 AM. I'll have a formal announcement going out a few days before, but just wanted to let you know here that you're correct and you'll want to be there. Excellent. Hopefully that's some kind of like big reveals. If anybody remembers a little while ago, we're still looking at this kind of what this announcement was, or this thing that, you know, Marcus said that there was some reveals, and in particular, not at liberty to talk about any of those, but stay tuned whether or not there is any kind of like new features coming to the game based on what was at San Diego Comic-Con. We still, you know, we don't know just yet, but hopefully it's something new, because we've gone through this is a very stale time. You know, I'm looking for, you know, members of Kabam to be just like talking about stuff, teasing stuff, answering back on bugs, issues, and things like that. But it just seems that we've had this kind of like week of just no like dialogue, chatter, tease, and that's the thing I think a lot of us strive on, is like, you know, making sure that the game is still going, the game is still ticking, and through these kind of dry, stale patches, it's like, oh, you won't want to miss this. Oh, we're actually going to deal with this. I'm actually going to think about adding that. Oh, look for an announcement about super whatever it is here, there. And, you know, this stuff is just all about just creating that spice. Keeps the wheels turning, the cogs turning with the community, with interest and stuff like that. When Kabam don't, it just kind of goes a bit... just a bit kind of like the momentum's down. I want the momentum always to be high with MCOC and the community. Battlegrounds matchmaking now is still a very important talking point. As you know, a little while ago, Kabam shifted the parameters of how it was going to be looked at, in that if you had an account like that shouldn't really be in Gladiator Circuit, or kind of like higher points getting some really nice rewards, what of the people that are having the choke points in Vibranium and lower that are Valiant and obviously higher players. Of course, that does lead to the fact of squash matches. A squash match is still a thing, kind of, and that is going to be annoying and rough for a lot of players. As I've said, a lot of time for those that have lower accounts, the low and mid tier ones, and it's not ideal, your best bet is to start 2 weeks in to playing Battlegrounds, in that you will hopefully not, you know, see these people. Unfortunately, as Kabam did say, this would be a knock-on effect for a few more seasons. These higher accounts need to get out and away from you, but the biggest problem that they have at the moment is, well, they need to be in Gladiator Circuit to then come back in on Diamond, so that then when you're going up from Bronze, it doesn't feel too much of a thing. It's kind of like, in a nutshell, Kabam have set up this new staging for Battlegrounds matchmaking so that they are away from you. But they can't get away from you until these particular players have gone up and are then seeding back above you. And that's kind of the thing with it. So it will be annoying for a lot of players in a nutshell. Winterfield says it's still first week. Many of the stronger accounts push the first week. Sometimes also the last week too. It should get easier in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, agreed. I know it's frustrating, but this game rewards patience both during the Battleground season and in building up your roster. When you get to a roadblock in Battlegrounds, pivot to going through story content, and that's really it. And you got to build, unfortunately, build your roster out. This is why you got to focus on, sadly, farming units, pushing towards things like Lightfall Showcase and story mode, and saving up units for Cyber Weekend deals because they're getting better for lower to mid-tier players to make gains and make advantages, banquet events and stuff like that. There's a different way to approach it. It's rough. It's the long game, but unfortunately, when it comes to MCOC, it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, which I learned from somebody in a different gaming community. But Kabam Pinwheel does say on this one first. Just want to back up that what Winter said. It's definitely more long-term play. They said just as an overall thing, we do want to improve the mid-game experience for players, though. So definitely be keeping an eye out for this sentiment remains once we're a little further into the season and things have separated out a little bit more. So I don't know, that kind of went off, but it's this part here, like mid-game. We do want to improve the mid-game experience for players, though. So definitely keeping an eye out to see if the sentiment remains once we're a little further into the season. Okay, so that's what it means. Pinwheel means by this is that if that's what Winter said, part of it feels like it reads it like they're actually looking into. That said, just as an overall thing, we do want to improve the mid-game experience for players. So maybe there's something on the horizon that is better for matchmaking, for those mid-game experience. Maybe there's a different type of seeding of fighting within it. Maybe it's a case that Kabam could take a certain type of, and I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with this, but take a certain type of champion rating or prestige. They'd have to find some sort of element to say this is what defines you being in Gladiator Circuit as normal, and meaning that, like, I don't know, Valiant players or again certain roster size automatically starts in Gladiator Circuit, and Victory Track is not a thing for certain players. Like, it's separated out. Therefore, one can climb up but not reach out of that to get higher, decent rewards, and those that are Valiant and whatever just need to do X amount of matches to earn X amount of rewards, and it's kind of separating them out. I'm sure Kabam will find a way. It's not up to me to kind of like dictate an idea to them on it. I mean, I can come up with like an idea, but that's just off the cuff to say, hey, if there's a way to separate out so people don't feel punished so much, then let one side eat cake and the other side eat caviar. You know what I mean with it? It's not a good way to explain it, but I think, you know, that would be interesting if Kabam could do it. And maybe Kabam are looking into it. So, a bit more now on the balance program. As you know, we did like a little kind of coverage story of this, of like the program. Is it still going? What's happening? It seems a bit kind of slow on communication. Kabam are going through a transition at the moment to at least have coverage on matters and dealing with things. But whether or not we see anything from Kabam, I don't know. We're just waiting to hear things. And at this stage, it's better just to hear from the horse's mouth. And there's a good point here, you know, clobbering time. If you do follow LinkedIn, you know, I'm still 1 year being let go from the industry on a video game that I was working on with some former Kabam employees. And that's the sad thing about it. Like, there's a lot of jobs and like gone, just gone. And Kabam have done that. They've cut a lot of jobs as well. So the extent of like kind of like building their team, tough. Anyway, Kabam Pinwheel says, getting caught up with the thread, so I still want to read over a little bit for sure. Picking up everything, everyone would agree with it. I agree we can do a better job with communicating. While it's absolutely true that sometimes we just don't have the info to share, and trust me, that can be frustrating even more so for us. We like sharing news with y'all, and we can do a better job keeping that line of communication open. In the meantime, Dork and I are doing our best to keep up speed as quickly as we can, but we can definitely admit some stuff has dipped off the in the meantime. There's been a lot going on. As someone said, SDCC was awesome but busy. But even so, we want to get things sorted and possibly do better than ever. And I would just point out, like, you know, shout out to Dave. I don't know if he's going to see this, but shout out to Dave because, you know, 4 a.m. in Canada time or whatever time was, it's pretty late. 4 a.m. in UK time is probably pretty late in Canada. So I can imagine he's doing his best to kind of answer as much as possible, but also covering the market, you know, helping out with marketing and promoting the game, which is like, he's having to do so many other things. And Kabam won't employ extra people to do. Remember, it's a community team that had what, 3, 4, maybe even 5 people in, and then 2 that it could have like 7 to 10, and now it's definitely been stripped down a lot. You know, it's now down to razor thin. I don't know. Blame Netmarble for that, and blame shareholders for that. You know, there's knock-on effects. As the balance program specifically, I don't know at the moment. Well, that's not good. But I'll start asking around and see if we can get a status update, even if it's just a general yes or no. This is the problem I think we're going to see, is that people have been brought in from different games at Kabam, and they're trying to, I think they even admit to like trying to like find out what's going on with it, and this is going to be a really tough time, I think, to get information. Finding out what the balance program is, you know, getting information to the community. It's a bit of a concern. I did do a video kind of covering this, but I don't know. Like, I'm getting the feeling that it's a bit more. It's worse than what I previously thought it was going to be. Meh. Also, in good news, it looks like the compensation for the Spring of Sorrow correction's out. If you do see, well, you should have seen it already, 100 6-star shards. It's nothing to worry about. I think this is just how they've got to send it out, because they can't send it out as like a thing. It's going to be like, it's out, it's done, we did it, but we had to send a game message, so it had to be like a claimable thing, possibly. But yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, so it should have been sorted. That's it. Now to finish off Wednesday's show, the Super Daily event, the Daily Super event, Super Daily event, whatever it's called. It is missed. It really is. It's missed, and I know a lot of people have been talking about it. I'm definitely in that camp. It just feels good, man, to kind of like get it done and dusted, but also it saves up time, to save to like on the farming element of certain bits in the game. It was just fantastic, and it's a shame that it's not come back sooner, but obviously this is on a data collection type of thing. Whether or not we'll find out on Friday, that is something as well to let you know that could be rather good. No word from Kabam except for this from Kabam Pinwheel, who said, "Hey folks, the team has definitely seen the support and praise for this daily super event. No info to share just yet or future plans, but rest assured we've passed along how you feel about it." So yeah, I can imagine it will be a permanent thing at some stage. It's just a case of data collection. What have we had, like 1 week without it? Roll on indeed, kind of bringing it back, and also finding out some more info. Whether or not we'll find out on Friday, we'll have to go and watch the stream for that. And that has been a show for today. Thanks for watching. Check out some other content which will be located on screen right now. And yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.